Welcome to our video slope from 2 points. Make sure that you've watched the slope video and you know about slope and rise over run before you watch this one. So now we know that slope is rise over run, right? Steps on a graph. You'll need to have a deeper understanding of exactly what that means, and that's where we're going with this today. So in our example, from left to right, from point to point, we went up 1 before we went to the right, went up 2 before we went to the right 1. So rise over run becomes 2 over 1, or 2. We're going to start by putting 2 points on a line. We've got our line, we've got our 2 points. Both of those points have an x value and a y value. So how am I going to tell the 2 points apart? I can't have 2 different values for x and 2 different values for y. That wouldn't really make sense. So we're going to name the points. First, we're going to name one of the points point 1. We're going to name the other point point 2. It totally does not matter which one you call point 1 and which one you call point 2. We're going to add subscripts to match our point names. So in point 1, I'm going to put x1 and y1. In point 2, I'm going to name that x2 and y2 so that I know which x and y came from point 1 and which x and y came from point 2. Let's take a look at our rise and run now. If I go straight across from my points, if I'm looking at my y values, y1 would be down here at 0 and y2 would be up here at 3. To get the distance between them, or in other words to get my rise, I subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. Or I could say that y2 minus y1 is equal to 3. I'm going to do the same thing with the x values. If I go straight down to my x-axis and look at the x values on the 2 points, x1 we see is at 0 and x2 is down here at 4. To find the distance between them, again we subtract. So 4 minus 0 is equal to 4. Or I could say that x2 minus x1 is equal to 4. Same thing. So now I have 2 different values to work with. I have the fact that y2 minus y1 was 3, right? The rise was 3. And the x2 minus x1 was 4, or my run was 4. So we're going to use those to find slope. Again, which one was rise? Our rise was the difference between our y values, or 3. And which one is run? Run was the difference between our x values, in this case, 4. So we're going to put those into place. Our rise is the difference in our y values, which was 3. Our run was the difference in the x values, or 4. Our slope for this line is 3/4. We went up 3 before we went to the right 4 to get to our second point. We can do that again with a different point. Let's look at these 2 points, 2, 4 and 7, 10. We're going to name one point 1 and the other point 2, making x1 y1 and x2 y2. We're going to put these into our slope formula. So let's take a look at that. First, I'm going to take y2, which in this case is 10. I'm going to subtract y1, which in this case is negative 4. In the denominator, I want to have the difference in my x values. So I'm going to take x2, which is 7, and I'm going to subtract x1, which is 2. On top, 10 subtract a negative 4. When I have the double negatives, that becomes a plus. 10 plus 4 is 14. In the denominator, 7 minus 2 gives me 5. Can I reduce this fraction? Nope, can't be reduced. Don't want a mixed number. So 14/5 is my slope. This is telling me that as my line goes from left to right, I'm going to go up 14 units because it's positive, right? Before I go to the right 5 units. Let's try this one more time just to make sure you've got it. We want to find the slope between the points 12, 0 and negative 5, 4. We've got a line that's going through those points, but I don't have a graph. So again, I name 1.1 and 1.2. Now I'm going to put it into an equation, right? y2 in this case is 4 minus y1, which in this case is 0. In the denominator, we want the difference between our x's. Our x2 is negative 5. Subtract, and our x1 is 12. Double negative here now becomes a plus. On top, 4 minus 0 is 4. There's my rise. In the denominator, negative 5 plus 12. Remember, I have more positives than I do negatives. So I have 7 positives left over. I can't reduce my fraction, so my slope is 4/7. Make sure you write down any questions that you have. Especially important is to make sure that you write this formula for slope in your notes so you can use it in class tomorrow. Your assignment is the slope from 2 points worksheet. Have a good night and good luck.